Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Shem Shah, the blind to the apostle GMS. This is Amna Allah coming at you in the video. In this video, I'm going to Proverbs 9 and 8. So let's get right to it. It says, Proverbs chapter 9, verse 8. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. To reprove means to correct. So it says, reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. So let's go to the word scorner. Let's see what a scorner is in the Hebrew. That word there is lawataza. Okay. It says to scorn, make mouths at, talk arrogantly, to boast, to scorn. All right. To deride. So basically means, jump down, it says to be inflated. Someone that's inflated is inflated with pride. Scoff, act as a scorner, show oneself a mocker. So it basically means to boast or to speak arrogantly. Okay. So prove not a scorner or a boastful person. You know, a person like it says right here, make mouths at, like a person that speaks arrogantly. You know. Got the word deride. See what the word deride means. Deride. To laugh at or insult contemptuously. To subject to usually bitter or contemptuous ridicule or criticism. So basically, the word scorn means to deride, which means to laugh contemptuously or to criticize or to talk arrogantly. So let's go back now. Back to the scripture, it says, Proverbs chapter 9, verse 8, reprove not a scorner lest he hate thee. So if you reprove or correct a person like that, that person's going to hate you. So don't reprove a scorner lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man and he will love thee. So if you rebuke a wise man going to love you because you're giving that wise man correction. You're steering him to the path of righteousness and away from the path of darkness by teaching him the right way, by giving him the light, spiritual light, meaning understanding. Give instruction to, like for example, if you're in a dark room, you can't see anything. You're not aware. You don't understand your surroundings. But once the light is turned on, then you understand everything that's around you. So light represents understanding. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. That's self-explanatory. Okay, let's go to the next scripture. Okay, let me just break it down anyway. It says, give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. If you give a wise man instruction, if you teach him, he's going to become even wiser because he's going to take heed to what's taught to him. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. So if you teach a just man, meaning a righteous man, he's going to increase in learning. Okay? The fear of Yahweh Shem Shah is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. So fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, the beginning of wisdom. Leviticus 19 and 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Right? Heart meaning in your mind. Okay? Because you think with your mind. That word there for heart goes back to the Hebrew word lab, which means mind. Let's go down. Let's see what that says. Inner man, mind, will, heart, soul, understanding. See that? Mind, knowledge, thinking, reflection, memory. So it means mind. Like if I say, oh, I know that song by heart, meaning I've memorized it. But if I know about heart or I memorized it, what do I memorize it by? I memorize it with what? My mind. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart, meaning in your mind. Don't have inward hatred towards your brother. That could be like a, well, it's really referencing like a brother that's in the faith, another brother in the faith, a spiritual brother. You know, even your own brother. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. So you got to rebuke your neighbor or correct your neighbor and suffer not sin upon him. So you got to rebuke your neighbor so you don't suffer him to sin. So if you see your neighbor or a brother or an individual going off, you know, you're really supposed to correct them. Somebody that's in this truth and this understanding of this Bible. You're supposed to correct them if you see them doing something that's wrong, you know, so that you don't suffer sin upon them. Because if you don't correct them, that person will go and do the same thing. He or she will go and do the same thing. So you're supposed to correct that person. So you're supposed to lead them into a righteous path. And you correct them to what? The scriptures. The person commits a sin. Hey, brother, you know, according to the scripture, it says you're not supposed to do this, that, and third. You know what I'm saying? Based upon whatever it is that that person has done. Hey, brother, you know, you're not supposed to do that. You know, that was prideful. You know, the scriptures speak about pride, you know. because but the Most High giveth grace unto the humble. That's an example of correcting someone. This is Psalms chapter 141, verse 5. Let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness, right? Let the righteous smite me. It don't literally mean let a righteous person knock you upside the head. That's not what it's talking about. Let the righteous smite me. It's talking about in the figurative sense. Let the righteous smite you with what? Reproof, correction. Like, for example, like if a parent punishes their child, they're correcting their child. They're smiting their child, but not to kill them. They're smiting the child to correct them. So in this sense, what it's saying, let the righteous smite me, it's not talking about in the physical sense, but it's talking about in the figurative sense of correcting them. Like how a parent would punish their child to correct them. The righteous smiting someone would be smiting that person with correction. The way a parent may smite their child to correct them. So it says, let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness, and let him reprove me. So if the righteous smite you is going to be a kindness, that's something that's kind unto you, because that individual is showing that they care, that they have love for you. And let him reprove me, which is correct me. It shall be an excellent oil, right? It's going to be like an oil, because a person, like if you go into the scriptures, when a person is anointed with oil, for example, when Samuel had anointed David with oil, that was a sign that King David was going to become the next king of Israel. And that's like a blessing unto you when you anoint someone with oil. So it says, it shall be an excellent oil, like a blessing, which shall not break my head. So the smiting of a righteous person is going to be kind. It's going to be reproof. I mean, it's going to be correcting you. It's going to be like an excellent oil. All referencing the smiting of a righteous man, which shall not break my head. So that righteous man smiting you is not going to break your head, meaning it's not going to actually physically damage you, physically harm you. Okay, for my prayer also shall be in their calamities. But before we get into that, let me get into this real quick. Uh, um, thought I put it here. This is Give me 1 second. Okay, let me see if I can find it real quick. Give me 1 second. There you go. Proverbs 27:6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. So the righteous smiting you is like a person that's actually smiting you, like a person that's smiting you to harm you, but it's not physically smiting you to harm you. It's not meant to harm you at all. It's a smiting it's correction, but being referenced to as a smiting. That's why I said faithful are the wounds of a friend. A righteous person that's smiting you, they're not actually smiting you to harm you. They're not actually smiting you to wound you. The correction is like a wound, or the correction is like they're smiting you, but it's a wound of a friend. So it's not actually causing you harm. That's why I said faithful are the wounds of a friend. If you have two people that are friends, and a friend does something wrong, and they correct that other friend, it's like that person has just smitten you. But they haven't physically smitten you, they're actually just correcting you. So that wound that was given to you was meant to heal you, or that wound that was given to you was meant to build you up, was meant to correct you. That's why the wounds of a friend are faithful. Okay? So if two friends are together, one friend commits a sin, one friend goes off and commits a sin, and that friend corrects them. That friend has just smitten them in the figurative sense by correcting them. But that friend didn't actually smite them to wound them. He smitten them or corrected them, in other words. So the correction of a friend is being compared to a wound, but a wound that's faithful, because it's not actually a wound that's meant to harm you. It's a smiting or a wound that's meant to correct you. Okay? So faithful are the wounds of a friend, because a friend is going to correct you to lead you to a right path. not actually correct you in just an attempt to harm you, to wound you. But the kisses of an enemy are deceitful, right? The kisses of an enemy are deceitful because the enemy will kiss you. A kiss is being symbolic of showing someone love or kindness. Because an enemy may kiss you in a figurative sense, do something kind to you, but it's actually deceitful. So check that out. You see the comparison there? The kisses of an enemy and the wounds of a friend. A wound is something that will harm somebody. A kiss is something that shows love. But if an enemy shows you love, that's deceitful. But if a friend is wounding you, that's faithful. Because the enemy is showing you love, but it's deceitful because the enemy has darker intentions. But the friend is wounding you, not physically, but wounding you or smiting you with correction, which is faithful. Check that out. Because one would look at a friend that would be one to kiss you and an enemy to want to wound you. But the wounds of a friend are faithful, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Check that out. Let's go back to the scripture. All right. Psalm 141 and 5. Let the righteous smite me. It shall be a kindness, and let him reprove me. It shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head. For yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities. When their judges are overthrown in stony places, they shall hear my words, for they are sweet. That's right. So the righteous smiting you, it says, for yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities. Because why? You put up prayers for a righteous person. Okay? You put up prayers for a righteous person when they're going through whatever calamity is that they're going through. Look at the word calamities. Okay? I, Rai. Bad, evil. Bad, disagreeable, malignant, bad, unpleasant. Okay? So let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness, let him reprove me, it shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head. For yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities. And it gives you a deep explanation into that part, where it says, for my prayer also shall be in their calamities. When the judges are overthrown in stony places, they shall hear my words, for they are sweet. Because you put in their prayers to build the righteous person's spirit. That's why the scripture tell you in the book of Luke, it says when the Lord was speaking to Peter, he says Satan had desired to sift you as wheat, but when your faith is strengthened, so that scripture, see if I can find that real quick. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This is baby 1 second. Luke 22 and 31. And the Lord said to Simon, who's talking about Peter, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. Now, when you're putting something when you're sifting something through a sieve, the purpose of the sift is to take out the purpose of the sift is to take out certain parts of the grain that's not needed. Well, it's to take out certain parts of the grain that's not needed. Like, you ever seen someone take an object and they put it in water and they put it like in a river or some type of stream, and then when they take it out, so all kind of dirt and rocks in it, and then they shake it up, and what's left inside of it, the gold. They're shaking out anything that's not desirable, that's not needed. Okay. So the purpose of sifting something like wheat or sifting the grain is to keep all the finer parts, the parts that's necessary, the parts that's going to be used. So when the parts are going to be used in your recipe or for whatever it is you're going to use the wheat for, the grain for. So you take something, you put it in a sieve, and you shake it up. And the finer parts fall into whatever it is that you're sifting. The finer parts fall into the pot or whatever it is that you're doing. And then you have other parts that's left inside of the sieve that's not desirable, that's tossed away. So it says Satan hath desired to have it that he may sift you as wheat. So Satan had desired to sift Simon or to sift Peter, to take Peter out of the truth. So the Lord knew what was that Satan had desired to do.
Strong's G 4617. Siniazo.
Siniazo, to sift, shake and deceive, figuratively by inward agitation to try one's faith to the verge of overthrow. See that? So if something is being shaken and deceived, it's like a violent man. He's shaking it rapidly. But in this sense, he wasn't going to actually be shaken violently in the physical sense, but it was going to be an inward agitation in an attempt to overthrow Peter's faith or to overthrow Simon's faith, which Simon and Peter is the same person. So just as you take an actual sifting agent, a sieve, and you shake it violently, you shake it rapidly. Well, Satan had desired to do that to Simon Peter, but in the aspect of causing him agitation inwardly in his spirit in an attempt to overthrow his faith, like to bring hell upon him, in other words, put him through drastic situations to overthrow his faith. But I pray for thee that thy faith fail not, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. That's an example of your prayer being in your calamities. But I pray for thee that thy faith fail not, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. So when Peter's strength is built up, he built up the strength of the rest of the disciples. Let's keep going. Let's go to Proverbs 15 and 10. It's the last scripture I'm going to get. So this is what you got to have in your mind when somebody's correcting you. All right? These scriptures got to come to mind. It says Proverbs 15 and 10. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. So correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way. So if you forsake the way of this truth, correction is grievous because correction can hurt. That's why the scriptures reference it being a wound. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. That friend is wounding you. That wound is gonna hurt, or that correction is going to hurt. But that's a faithful wound of a friend. They're doing it in faith. They're doing it in good spirit. So they're wounding you or smiting you with correction. So it may hurt like an actual wound, or it may hurt like a person's actually smitten you. But that wound that was given to you by your friend is faithful because it's meant to build up your faith. It's all in good spirit. Okay? So that's what it means. Correction is grievous in them that forsake the way. So it can be grievous if you're going off, if you're sinning. And he that hated for proof shall die. But if you're a person that hated for proof, hated correction, you're going to die. You know why? Because you're going to go continue committing sin. And what did the scripture say in the book of, I believe it's Romans 6 and 23? The wages of sin is death. So you always got to keep correction in mind. So with that, I'm going to close and say, shout out more scriptures into this. I read 2 more verses. Hell and destruction are before the Lord, which hell is talking about the grave. There's no place you go when you burn, when you die. Which there's many scriptures on that. Hell and destruction are before Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. How much more than the hearts of the children of men? A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go into the wise. So a scorner don't love someone that reproves him, man. He hates them. Okay? So with that, I'm going to close and say, oh, praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The blind see positive GMS. I hope brothers learn something. Shalom.